Hello everyone and welcome to this week's episode of Minecraft Disney World. This week we're taking a break from the theme parks and we're heading over to a resort. We're going to be taking a look at Disney's Polynesian Resort. It's a fantastic resort with a lot of rich history. It's one of the two original resorts here at Walt Disney World, the other being Disney's Contemporary Resort. That said, that means it opened on October 1st, 1971. It was located on the south shore of the Seven Seas Lagoon, so it's got a nice view of the Magic Kingdom, and it's got a pretty interesting past to it. So both the Contemporary and the Polynesian were built by U.S. Steel, and at the time when they were making this resort, U.S. Steel was actually experimenting with a new form of construction called modular construction, and their idea was you would build all of the hotel rooms completely off-site. So you build it, you put in the carpeting and the air conditioning and the electric and everything in these contained little modular rooms, and then you bring them over to the hotel where the frame is built, and you just slide them right in. And U.S. Steel pretty much thought that would be the future of construction and it would make everything so much easier. Of course, today we know that that is the exact opposite of how it turned out. But it's interesting how the Polynesian sort of has a different troubled history than the Contemporary when it comes to that construction. With the Contemporary, the problem was they had built this frame and they had to keep going back and forth between which sides they were putting rooms in because the weight was being thrown off balance, so they needed to make sure both sides of the resort weighed the same. The Polynesian was different though. Rather than building a frame and sliding the rooms in like the Contemporary, what they did was they stacked the rooms into the shape of the building and then they built the frame around it. Now, this seemed fine at the time. However, a couple of years after the resort opened with its 492 rooms, a lot of guests started complaining about the smell of mold and mildew. And they found out that the smell was coming from the fact that there were all these gaps in between the rooms and the frames that were built, and mold was growing in there, and like debris had gotten in there. So what they had to do is they had to essentially rip it open and then fill in all of these gaps so no mold can grow. Luckily, later on when they expanded the resort, they sort of went back to using sort of traditional means of construction, so this problem did not pop up. Now, there have been a couple of points in its history where there was construction. Like I said, it opened with 492 rooms, but there were two big expansions. In 1978, they added a longhouse, as well as the Tangara Terrace. I'm probably just butchering that pronunciation. It was a restaurant and a support facility, and on top of that, another pool. And then there was another expansion in 1985 where they built two more longhouses, and they changed the name that same year from the Polynesian Village to Disney's Polynesian Resort. And now it has a total of 847 rooms and suites. And it was actually renovated as recently as this year. So even though this is one of the two oldest resorts at Disney World, it still has like a fresh feel to it. It's built around this central building that they call the Great Ceremonial House, and it was designed after this Tahitian Royal Assembly Lodge. What's interesting is there are no rooms there, but there are services and, front desks, things like that. Their lobby atrium has over 75 species of plant in there, so even though it's an indoor area, it is teeming with life, which is great, and they've got a couple of little waterfalls in there, which create this fantastic mood about it. It's got a bunch of restaurants. There's Ohana, which is this big family-style restaurant that serves breakfast and dinner. There's Kona Cafe, which is like a smaller one, and it's a la carte, so it gives you a different dining experience. And then they have the Spirit of Aloha dinner show, which is a musical dinner show, and it's performed throughout the week at night at a place called Luau Cove, which is actually an outdoor pavilion towards the edge of the property. And it's great because you can usually, do the show, or you could get dinner at Ohana and then go right to their white sand beaches and watch Wishes from the Magic Kingdom just across the water, which gives you this fantastic view. And I don't know if it's like the Contemporary, but in the Contemporary, when you watch the fireworks show. They actually pipe in the music from the theme park into wherever you are, so you could still get the full experience even though you're not in the Magic Kingdom. And then on top of that, they've got something called the Neverland Club, which is it's sort of an activity center for kids. So I guess if parents or older siblings want to spend some time doing something else, you could drop off the kids, and it sort of gives them a lot of themed activities to do and crafts and even meals. And it's all themed after the nursery from Peter Pan. So that's cool. It gives people of all ages something to do at this resort. And then this I thought was an interesting little fact. The Polynesian resort was actually where John Lennon signed the paperwork that officially dissolved the Beatles as a band, and he did that in 1974. So there's a little history there as well, on top of just Disney history, real history. So I think that's super interesting. It's a great resort. It is one of the deluxe resorts, so it's more expensive than the others out there, but you definitely see where that money's going when you stay there. It's a great theme. Even if you're not staying there, I think one of the fantastic things about Disney World is that you can go around and visit these resorts and still have an enjoyable time, even if you're not staying there, just to see what it's like, or to eat there. For instance, you don't have to stay at the Polynesian to eat at Ohana. You could just go to Ohana to eat there, and it gives you a way to experience these resorts without having to, shell out the cash to stay there, and maybe gives you ideas of where you might want to stay in the future. In any case, that's a quick look at the Disney Polynesian Resort. Fantastic recreation here in MC Magic. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Whatever you're doing, make the most of it. And I hope to see you all here next week for the next episode of Minecraft Disney World. Bye, everyone.